going on, guys? Dawkbro back again. Hope you're fantastic today. And finally, I have read the first story of Fazbear Frights, okay? Into the Pit is the first one out of the whole collection. I've finally read the first story, and it's amazing. I'd have to rate this story a 10 out of 10. I'm not even kidding. It was a bit of a slow start, but you've got to remember, these are short stories, okay? And it was a bit of a slow start, bit of a slow introduction, but then, guys, it gets really good at the end. The end part, man, is absolutely insane and so mind-blowing. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. So, spoilers, guys. It's a big spoiler. I've done, like, freaking just the first story, guys. I've written, like, page after 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 page of notes to talk to you guys about my thoughts on the book and if there's any lore involved in it, because it's a really interesting story, guys, okay? So, yeah, this is spoilers, but if you don't want any spoilers, stop watching. But if you want my personal thoughts on it, it was really good. I'll tell you a bit about the blurb. It's basically a story about a boy called Oswald who goes to an old pizzeria. He goes into a ball pit and he goes back in time to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And that's where I'm just going to leave it at that, guys. It gets pretty intense later on. Like I said, I'd give it about a 9 or 10 out of 10. It was really good and the ending was amazing. But confusing as well. But that's the best thing about the stories in this game, guys, and the novels is that, you know, they always end up being a bit of a mystery. Here we go with spoilers, guys. I'm just going to talk about my whole thoughts on the story, and then we'll talk about the lore parts, okay? Oswald lives in a dying town with his mum and dad. His mum works at the hospital, 12-hour shifts from 12 in the afternoon to 12 at night. His dad works at like a snack shop for food, part-time job, because the town used to be thriving because all the workers used to work at the mill, and the mill closed down 3 years ago, and now the town is basically dead. Everybody who worked at the mill has left, gone somewhere else to find a job for money, and you know, the town's very derelict. All the shops are down, run down, closed. It's a very quiet town now. Interestingly, he likes to draw animatronics, mechanical animals, bears, bunnies and birds. That's interesting. Freddy, Bonnie and Chica, you know. Obviously not, he didn't draw those animatronics. He drew animals like that. Human-sized and twitchy, like a horror film. He also sometimes drew them withered, like withered animatronics, which is really interesting. I don't know why Scott wanted to include that in, because it didn't really go anywhere. It's about to become summer vacation. His best friend's left town. He's got nothing to do all summer. But his dad said, why don't you go and visit the library, play some games, read some books, go on the internet. And while you're at it, you can go to a place called Jeff's Pizza for a snack and a drink. Oswald remembers Jeff's Pizza being run down, a lot bigger. It has a lot of space in there what isn't used. Like something was there beforehand, okay? When he goes and visits the pizzeria, guys, he thinks it's creepy. It's run down but very clean. It's not dirty. And on the wall, guys, there's something that's been painted over, like little figures of something that's been painted over really badly. So you can see when you look at the wall, the old paintings that used to be there before it was painted over for Jeff's Pizzeria. When he walks into the pizzeria, guys, he looks around, like I said, sees the things and everything like he thought he would see. But then he sees a ball pit. And the ball pit, he thinks is very weird because, you know, they were all banned because of hygiene. So it's interesting how this pizzeria still has a ball pit, but it's not used, guys. Nobody uses it. It's run down, dusty. The balls have a layer of dust on them. The balls in the ball pit. So obviously shows that nobody's been in there for a very long time. Now, the only worker who seems to be there is Jeff. Jeff seems to be the person who owns the whole place and is the only worker there, does all the cooking and stuff for the pizza and everything. He seems to be the only person who works there. Description for Jeff, the manager, the owner, looks very tired, dark hair, bloodshot eyes, a stained apron with all the pizza, tomato juice and stuff like that all over his apron. But he seems to be a nice man. He's generous with the pizza. The pizza slices are huge, which Oswald loves. And there were other people there, guys. It wasn't just Oswald who walked in. There were other customers there. So it was still, you know, people were still going there. And also, Jeff was a nice guy because Jeff gave Oswald free pizza and free drinks for when there was spare pizza that wasn't used for lunch. It was only going to go in the bin anyway, but he gave it to Oswald. So he's a nice man, but his expression never changed, which is interesting. He was always like this. Hey Oswald, do you want some pizza? I've got some spare in the back. Do you want some? Do you know what I mean? He's not like, hey Oswald, I've got some pizza in the back if you want some. He was just like, dead inside. I don't really know what that means or anything. Whether he's just a weird man, because it's never revealed if Jeff's like a weirdo in the story. But yeah, all summer, guys, Oswald just keeps going to the library, to the pizzeria, for a couple of weeks. So nothing happens for a couple of weeks, guys. It's not like he goes into the pizzeria and goes into the ball pit straight away, which I liked, actually. I liked how everything's been normal for a while. Now, I just want to say this now, guys. This story is in modern times, okay? Oswald is living in the present time. He has a phone. He watches YouTube videos. He mentions Netflix. So this is in modern times, okay? Another reference to Jeff. He looks 100 years old. Oswald refers him to as a zombie pizza chef. Again, interesting. I don't think it's a reference to Michael, but it just goes to show that Jeff is a very tired-looking man. Okay, this is where things get interesting, guys. That was just a start to get your heads wrapped around it. Okay, so Oswald and Oswald's dad have an argument in the car. Says he's sick of this place. He doesn't want to live here anymore. He's so bored. Ben's having a great time on holiday and stuff. Why can't I be the same? They have an argument. Oswald's dad drops him off, and Oswald thinks, you know what? I'm going to play a prank on my dad for how he spoke to me. I'm annoyed. I want some fun. I want to do something interesting. I'm going to go into the ball pit just before my dad comes to pick me up. I'm going to hide. And I'm going to get my dad really worried. Where is he? Where's my son? He's lost. He's going to hide in the ball pit and then scare him and be like, hey, I'm here. I'm in the ball pit. Cool prank, bro. Well done, Oswald. But this is where things get cool, guys, and weird and wacky, okay? Oswald goes into the ball pit, dives down and waits. It's dark and claustrophobic. You can't see anything on the surface now because he's dived right down to the surface of the ball pit. It's dark, musky, smelly of, sticky, dusty balls all over him. And he waits down there for about 100 seconds. And then he comes up to the surface. He's back in time. Okay? He's no longer at Jeff's pizzeria. He's in the scene of the moment when Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was thriving. Music playing in the background. Flashing lights. Kids talking. When he comes up to the ball pit, guys, there's other kids around him playing in the ball pit. Okay? So he's back in time. Back at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. An interesting point, guys. Before he goes into the ball pit at Jeff's pizzeria, he takes off his shoes to go in. When he comes out of the ball pit, back in time, his shoes are no longer there. Okay? That's a good point to make. His shoes aren't there anymore, so he is back in time. So around him, guys, are a lot of young kids Not in this time, obviously. Not in the modern day. They've got polo shirts, puffy hair. You know, this is set in the 1980s. And it's confirmed by that later on, which I'll say now. This is in 1985. An interesting date. Oswald goes back in time to when Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was in 1985. He sees the stage, guys. Freddy, Bonnie and Chica are all on the stage. Interestingly, he says they do look creepy. He's not excited by them. He says, these look creepy. But honestly, guys, the animatronics aren't really important in this story, guys. They're there in the scene, but that's all they are. They're just in the scene. They don't do anything else. And they perform and stuff, sing and dance. The kids love them. Oswald's the only one who seems to be creeped out by them at this moment. Painting that I mentioned earlier, guys, that was covered by Jeff's paint is a mural of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. It's not Fredbear's Family Diner, guys. It's Freddy Fazbear's Pizza of a painting of Bonnie, Freddy and Chica, all on the wall with the logo Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Oswald can interact with the other people there. He meets two people who he becomes friends with at the location, guys, back in time. He can talk to them, which is so weird. They're called Chip and Mike. Two boys around the same age as Oswald. And interestingly, Oswald doesn't think this is a dream. You know, he can interact with the people, he can smell the pizza and everything. This isn't a dream. Now, this is where things get interesting, guys. I'm going to play this scene with you, okay? I'm going to actually wear the Glitch Trap mask to help you guys understand what this is like. So, this is the scene. Oswald, Chip and Mike are all interacting with each other, having fun. And then they say, hey, let's go and play some skee ball. You know, the big arcade machine. The arcade machine there is amazing, by the way, guys. All the latest arcade games, it's up to date. It's where everybody hangs out. The skee ball, they walk to the skee ball, guys. Right. All three of them. And then Oswald notices a man in a rabbit costume. He passes a man in a rabbit costume, Spring Bonnie. The Spring Bonnie man, not acting suspicious or anything. He just walks past him. You know, Spring Bonnie isn't doing anything weird. But, interestingly, guys, everybody seems to be avoiding Spring Bonnie. Not like they're scared of him or anything. Like they're ignoring him. Like nobody seems to notice that Spring Bonnie's there. And it seems to be only Oswald who notices him. Nobody else. Okay? Remember that, because that's really interesting. Now, guys, they have a lot of fun on skee ball, but then Oswald's like, I need to go back. But how do I go back? He goes back into the safe bye, goes back into the ball pit, pops back up, and he's back at Jeff's Pizza. Okay? So, he went into the ball pit, saw Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, interacted, had fun, saw Spring Bonnie, went back to Jeff's Pizzeria. Like, everything was normal, okay? And the interesting thing about it, guys, is that no time passed between when he left and came back, okay? No time passed at all. So, let's say he spent 2 hours at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Yeah, it was only in the pit for a minute. When he went down for 100 seconds, he came back out. No time passed at all. Okay, guys? He was really excited. Obviously, he would be. He's found a freaking time machine ball pit. So, he tries again, and he goes back, and it works. He goes back into the ball pit the next day, and he's back at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza again. It's not like he comes back, and the timer's reset again, and Chip and Mike are like, hey, who are you? Chip and Mike remember him. And they're now friends. So time is passing while he's at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Mike and Chip remember who he is and interact with him. He keeps going back day after day, interacting with Mike and Chip in 1985, like he was there. So weird. So while he's interacting with them again and stuff, and having fun, he notices Spring Bonnie again. This time, it's a little bit more interesting, okay? First, the first encounter of Spring Bonnie, Oswald walks past him. It's fine. He's not acting weird. Spring Bonnie's not acting weird, but nobody seems to notice him, okay? This one's more interesting. Oswald notices Spring Bonnie stood in the corner of the room, like this. Obviously in a full suit, not just a head. Stood still, no movement, in the corner of the pizzeria, still as a statue. But nobody else seems to notice Spring Bonnie. Nobody thinks it's weird. Everybody's just doing the normal thing and not noticing there's a Spring Bonnie man in a suit stood in the corner of the room, still as a statue. And Oswald seems to be the only one who notices it and cares. Why is nobody else seeing this? Oswald wanted to tell Mike and Chip about the Spring Bonnie man, but he decides not to. And then it becomes a regular thing. We don't know how long he keeps going back. But it's a while, guys. I'd say like a week or two. He just keeps going back into the pit, having fun, coming back. So yeah, he's enjoying himself. No issues whatsoever for a while. Mike and Chip actually offer him to go to the movies, but Oswald doesn't know what would happen if he leaves the pizzeria. And he doesn't even try it. We don't know what would happen. He makes a reference to Back to the Future. If he changes things now, something might happen. So Oswald doesn't really want to do it anyway, and he doesn't. So yeah, it would be interesting to see if Oswald could actually leave the pizzeria, but I doubt it. Probably something bad would happen. Like I said, guys, this has been going on for a while where Oswald comes to the pizzeria, interacts with Mike and Chip, plays a few games with them, and eats pizza with them. Mike and Chip pay for everything, and Oswald feels bad. And Oswald's like, I don't really want to play today. I feel bad for, being a little scavenger and taking all your pizza and playing games with you for free. And Mike and Chip are like, no, it's fine. We haven't noticed. And then Oswald's like, nah, I don't want to today. You guys go ahead. Because obviously Oswald's not going to have any money. Because, he doesn't have any money anyway, but he won't have any money in the 1980s. He's just freaking time traveled. He's got nothing. This is another interesting point, guys, that I've highlighted. It's obviously important. It's weird. Oswald gets up and then he feels heavy in his legs, pockets. His pockets are full of Faz coins. I'm sick of you guys paying for me. It's fine. I'll sit out with this one. He gets up straight away. His pockets are full of Faz coins. Magically. He's magically rich of Faz coins now. It's like somebody wants him to stay there and keep coming back and playing games. But we don't know who. It's never mentioned after this, guys, if somebody's been making him come back. But you kind of guess who he's doing this. Let's be real. So yeah, that's a weird coincidence. Magically, poof, Faz coins in his pockets. So now, guys, this can't really be time travel, can it? Can't be time travel. It is technically, but it's not the way. It's not the way that it should be, is it? It's something more sinister than that, isn't it? It's more of like a dark memory. He's going back to a dark memory, like something's happened there. So technically it is time travel, but it's somebody pulling the strings of this, if that makes sense. So he goes back home again, has some fun, goes back. But now Oswald's a little bit, something's weird here. I'll ask my dad about it. He doesn't actually tell. He doesn't say, Dad, I've been time traveling back to 1985. He just asks. He goes, Dad, how old were you back in 1985? And his dad goes, just a little bit older. Do you remember what was before Jeff's Pizzeria? And his dad acts weird. He kind of goes off the subject, doesn't want to talk about it. Very bluntly, his dad goes, it closed. So something happened at that pizzeria, guys. The one that Oswald went to. And Oswald's dad knows about it, okay? I'm guessing all the town residents know what happened there. And straight after that, guys, when Oswald's dad drops him off, he goes back into the pit. And he comes in, and he comes out, and he's expecting the flashing lights, the music, and everything to happen all over again. Another good day at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza back in 1985. No. He comes out of the pit. He hears children screaming. Help, help! Parents rushing around, grabbing the kids, running to the exit. A lot of screams, no music. Screams, terror, panic. What the hell's happened here, Oswald thinks. What's going on? What the hell's going on? This isn't how I remember it. Kids running around in panic and everybody leaving straight away. What's going on? Something's happened. Oswald instantly thinks of Mike and Chip. Oh, my friends, where are they? Mike! Chip, where are you? Are you okay? No sign of them. That's the last time we hear about Mike and Chip, guys. They're not mentioned again after. So he looks around for Mike and Chip, and who does he see? Who does he see? He sees Spring Bonnie. At this point, guys, nobody else is in the pizzeria, apart from Oswald and Spring Bonnie. Spring Bonnie is at a private room door, and Spring Bonnie tempts him inside. And of course, Oswald follows Spring Bonnie into the private room. You can see where this is going. Obviously, Spring Bonnie is luring Oswald to see something. Interestingly though, guys, when Oswald goes into the private room, there's a long corridor. It's not just a room, it's a long corridor. And in that corridor, Spring Bonnie is there in the corridor, again, luring him in and leads him into another room, which is a party room. So it's weird, isn't it, guys? I really don't feel like this is in the location anymore. Unless it's like a private birthday room or something like that for private parties. That's the only suggestion I have. Or it could just be like mixed memories of something happening, if that makes sense. Like a confused memory of the location, warped. It's very weird. So, Oswald gets lured by Spring Bonnie into a party room. Now, this is where things get really dark, guys. I'm not kidding. Oswald goes into the party room and there's dead kids in there. All lined up on the wall. All lined up on the wall, guys. Sat down like this. If you can try and picture this. We don't know how many dead kids are there. I'm guessing 5, because it goes with the law, 5 dead kids. All lined up, dead. They're dead, guys. Some of them are like this. Some of them are like this. It's described that some of the kids look like they're asleep, some of them wide open. And they all have Freddy Fazbear party hats on. All of them. All of the dead kids lined up on the wall with a picture of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a painting of the animatronics behind them. All dead with party hats on. Now, Oswald instantly knew that this guy killed them all. And it was almost like Spring Bonnie was trying to show him what he's done. Or to kill him. One of the two. And that's what happens, guys. Spring Bonnie lunges at him. Spring Bonnie lunges at Oswald to try and kill him. Oswald's like, in his head, I don't think I'm going to die. I'm back in time. It's a bit weird. I don't know whether I'm going to die or not, but I'm going to run anyway because I'm scared. While Oswald's running away from Spring Bonnie, guys, you can hear police sirens outside. Like a past memory of what's happened, guys. Spring Bonnie's killed kids. Everybody panics and runs out. So somebody's obviously seen this happen. Parents run outside, all panic. The police arrive, and Oswald escapes just at that time. He gets out of the pit. See, his dad's right there, outside of the pit, giving him a few words like, Oswald, what the hell are you doing in this ball pit for? It's years old. Your mum's going to say something about this. Okay. Now, this is where things get a bit crazy, okay, guys? Oswald's obviously like, oh, thank God. I don't know what went on, but, you know, it's fine now. I'm back at home. Nope. Oswald's dad. Oh. Oswald's dad gets grabbed by Spring Bonnie and pulled down into the pit. Oswald's dad gets pulled down by Spring Bonnie. And you see Spring Bonnie's arms go, grabs him, pulls him down. And he's not seen again. And then what happens, guys, is even more cool. Spring Bonnie comes out of the ball pit, adjusts his bow tie, and then grabs Oswald and leads him to the exit of Jeff's Pizzeria. I'm not kidding, guys. I'm not kidding. Oswald's dad dragged down into the pit. Spring Bonnie comes up, adjusts his bow tie, grabs Oswald, and takes him to the exit in present time. In present time, this is happening. Spring Bonnie is just walking around now, like a normal person. Jeff, the owner, just says, see you later, guys. Jeff doesn't see what's going on. Like, everything's normal. Spring Bonnie and Oswald leave Jeff's Pizzeria at present time, they go into his dad's car. And Spring Bonnie starts driving like a normal person. Literally, I'm not kidding. Spring Bonnie's in the car driving like nothing's happened. And Oswald's like, what's happened to my dad? What's gonna happen to me? Where are you taking me? And Spring Bonnie's just driving in the car, staring. No movement, just staring with his face and smile, driving his car. They go back home to Oswald's house like nothing has happened and everything's normal. When Oswald gets out of the car, guys, Oswald runs away. But strangely, Spring Bonnie is there in front of him, like he teleports and grabs him, takes him home. Spring Bonnie opens the door in the normal house like everything's fine. They've got a pet cat though, guys. They have a pet cat and the pet cat reacts to it. The cat obviously knows something's wrong. Goes away, runs away and hides. The cat knows something bad is happening. So at least there's one normal thing in this novel, guys, that somebody else sees that Spring Bonnie is in the freaking house with Oswald, because that cat is the only one who notices it. Nobody else does, guys. You'll see. Oswald just tries to act normal with him, but then runs up to his bedroom and slams the door and locks it, okay? And then texts his mom. Mom, something's happened to Dad. Please come quickly. Please. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Don't worry. Spring Bonnie's never seen again. After that, for now, she's gone. Mum comes upstairs, guys. This is the most, my heart sank when I read this. Mum, something's happened to Dad. Something's happened. What? Nothing's happened to Dad. He's lying down in bed eating food. What are you talking about? He's just in bed, Oswald, watching TV. Are you okay? Are you feeling okay? He made you a chicken pie. He's put it in the oven. It's waiting for you. What are you doing? What's wrong? Your dad's fine. The cat still knows something's wrong, guys, because the cat was acting strange still around the house. But the mom, everything's fine. Dad's fine. He's in the bedroom watching TV. The next morning, guys, Oswald comes down for breakfast. Okay, maybe I am going insane. Maybe it was just a big dream or nightmare. He sits down and he eats his breakfast, guys. And who walks into the kitchen? Spring Bonnie. The same animatronic man suit from 1985 walks into the kitchen and sits down with Oswald, staring at him. And Spring Bonnie, guys, is his dad. So the mom sees Oswald's dad, not Spring Bonnie. Does that make sense? Like an illusion. Everybody else in the town, even Jeff. That's why when they left the pizzeria, Jeff went, "See you later, guys." Because Jeff sees Oswald's dad. The mom sees Oswald's dad. Everybody in the town sees Oswald's dad. Oswald is the only one who sees Spring Bonnie sat at the kitchen table, walking around. That's all he sees, lying in bed eating. That's Spring Bonnie, he sees that. And then Spring Bonnie drives him to the library like a normal routine. It's so weird. It's so weird, guys. So Spring Bonnie drops him off at the library like every other day, like his dad would do. Drops him off at the library, drops him off at Jeff's pizzeria. Like, it's his normal dad. Spring Bonnie drives him, again, just drives him normally. But Oswald at this point tries to act as normal as possible. Tries to pretend that he doesn't see Spring Bonnie anymore. And he's like, Dad, I think I'm going to take the bus back home today. Is that okay? No talking. Spring Bonnie's just like that. Like that. Driving along. No talking. Spring Bonnie never talks to him back. Nothing. No interaction. And while he's driving Oswald to school in the morning, neighbours are waving to Oswald's dad. Like they see Oswald's dad as well. Not Spring Bonnie driving a car. No emotion, guys. Just driving like that. And Oswald tries to talk to him. Nothing. So Oswald goes back home. It's so weird. Spring Bonnie's in the living room watching TV. No expression. But Oswald tries to act normal again, just as normal as possible, to pretend everything was normal. He cleans the house, does all that, and says, "Hey, Dad, I'm going back upstairs. I'm going to grab some milk and go and do some homework. Is that okay?" No response. Goes upstairs. He leaves the door open this time to pretend everything's normal, so Spring Bonnie doesn't attack him or whatever. And then Spring Bonnie comes upstairs and he's just at the door like this. And he lures him again, like how he did to go to the murder room in the private room in the 80s, back in time. He lures him again to go down into the kitchen. In the kitchen, there's a table with some pizza and some fruit punch on the table. And Spring Bonnie just sits there. Like, Spring Bonnie has made Oswald a meal for the night. Pizza, fruit punch, sits down, eats it all, drinks it up and goes, "Hey, Dad, are you not going to eat your pizza?" Nothing. So Oswald's like, "Are you an animatronic? Are you a man in a suit? Are you a fleshy bunny? What are you?" In his head, he doesn't ask him that. And he goes back upstairs and he's like, "I need to go back to Jeff's pizza." Spring Bonnie doesn't act like anything different. It's still the same emotionless nothing. He goes to bed, waits at the night to go back to Jeff's pizza. When he leaves the room, so weird. The door of the parents' room is open, right? And Spring Bonnie's asleep in the dad's bed. Like that. She's asleep. Obviously, Oswald doesn't know if he's asleep because the eyes are still open of Spring Bonnie because it's an animatronic. Asleep. He manages to get out and escapes and runs all the way to Jeff's pizza. Luckily, it's still open. Nobody else is in the pizzeria apart from Jeff. And Jeff's like, "Hey, are you okay?" And Oswald's like, "Yeah, I'll just have a drink, please." Scared frantically and stuff. And he's like, "Okay, I'm going to go and clean the ovens first. I'll get your drink in a minute." When Jeff goes to do that, Oswald sprints to the ball pit, and tries to go back in time because he obviously thinks his dad is in the past still, trapped in the past. He goes into the ball pit, guys, and does his 100-second thing, waits under the pit, like that. And he feels a shoe. And he picks it up and he's like, oh my God, this is my dad's shoe. What's going on? And he feels around even more. He feels a leg of a body. He starts going up more. This is a body. What's going on? He feels the shoulders and feels the head. And it's his dad. His dad is in the ball pit still. Not dead, though. Pale, you know, unconscious, but breathing. So his dad has been in that ball pit for days, unconscious. Trapped in the ball pit. So what's happened, guys, is that Spring Bonnie's pulled his dad under and then come out. And for some reason, everybody else sees Oswald's dad apart from Oswald. So while Oswald and Spring Bonnie have been out, you know, being at the house, making breakfast, driving him to school and stuff, Oswald's real dad has been in the ball pit unconscious all this time. But nobody else knows that because they all see Oswald's dad, not Spring Bonnie. It's so weird, guys. It's so weird. He's unconscious. Oswald tries to get him out of the pit. He gets up. He's still at Jeff's Pizzeria, guys. He's not back in time. Tries to carry his dad out of the pit. And who's there? It's Spring Bonnie. Grabs Oswald again. His dad's just left off now somewhere. Because, you know, they have a fight, guys. Oswald and Spring Bonnie have a fight in the ball pit. Oswald, holding his dad, tries to nudge Spring Bonnie out of the way. Spring Bonnie stumbles, but gets back up absolutely fine. Grabs Oswald, puts him against the wall of the ball pit. And now this is where things get interesting. Spring Bonnie grabs Oswald on the wall, opens his jaw to reveal a bunch of teeth. Sharp, horrible teeth, like the Nightmare animatronics. And Spring Bonnie tries to kill Oswald. He tries to go and bite Oswald's neck, but luckily Oswald puts his arm there to take the bite instead of his neck. And he gets bit by Spring Bonnie. His fangs go straight into his arm. Blood, everything. But while Spring Bonnie's distracted biting his arm, Oswald punches him constantly to get him off him. And he does, eventually. But the fang bite is still there, guys. His fangs are still the marks, the blood, right into his arm. And then after that, Spring Bonnie's jaw is covered in blood. Oswald's blood of where he's bit him. And then they have a big fight, guys. Oswald jumps onto Spring Bonnie's back, punches him, tries to rip his eyes out and stuff like that. When Oswald was grabbing and ripping his eyes, guys, they didn't feel real, okay? They're not real eyes, so this is a suit, okay? This is an animatronic suit. It's not a real life thing. If it was real, Scott would have said the eyes felt real, like an animal's eyes. They weren't. They felt plastic. Spring Bonnie grabs Oswald and throws him onto the floor in the ball pit. And Oswald's now like in the ball pit still. Hits his head at the bottom, but luckily it's a soft ball pit, so it doesn't do much damage. Oswald gets up. Guys, right, this is the weirdest part. The weirdest part. And then Spring Bonnie is trapped in ropes from the ball pit. Like, the ball pit netting. You know, it's a big ball pit. And Spring Bonnie's trapped on the netting and stuff, and he's trying to get out. And then a rope from the ball pit and the netting is wrapped around Spring Bonnie's neck. Wrapped around his neck, guys. And then Oswald realises he's been hanged. Spring Bonnie has been hanged, hung, whatever you want to say. Spring Bonnie's in the air now. Gasping for help, but there's no noise coming out of it. There's no... It's just... And he's trying to grab things. He's floating now, guys, with the rope attached to his neck, up. He's in the air. You can see the whole animatronic with his paws trying to grab the ropes and stuff to try and get out. He stares at Oswald like this. Asking, basically asking for help. Oswald doesn't give him that, okay? And he dies. Spring Bonnie's dead. Hanging. Lifeless now. Just dead. And then, while this happens, guys, Oswald blinks. Opens his eyes. The suit's still there, but it's empty. Dirty. Old. Rotten. It's a rotten Spring Bonnie suit now. Like how it would be 30 years later. So it's not the clean, fresh, brand new Spring Bonnie costume anymore with somebody inside. It's just lifeless and empty now. No person inside. Empty. Dirty. Rotten. And then Oswald's dad wakes up. Okay? And he doesn't know what's going on. Interestingly, Oswald's dad is pale, black eyes, and he's got stubble. So Oswald's dad has been in the ball pit all this time, okay? It's not like he's been teleported back or anything, or he's came back in time. He was in the past and he's back now, like nothing happened. He's been unconscious in that ball pit for days, okay? What happened to Oswald happened, guys. That was real. That happened. I don't know how, but it seems like Spring Bonnie tried to replace his dad. That's what Oswald thinks. Oswald thinks Spring Bonnie tried to replace his dad and act normal. And try and fit in with everybody else. Because everybody else saw Oswald's dad, apart from Oswald. Whether he had an illusion disc on or something to... you know, have an illusion to make everybody think it's his dad still. I don't know. Or whether it was just like... just haunting. Like... Spring Bonnie's presence, like, all this darkness had that much power that he was able to get out of the ball pit and walk around and be in normal time again. Like, possession and people still seeing Oswald's dad. It's very weird, guys. And we know it's real or something happened anyway. Because when the dad looks up, he sees the Spring Bonnie suit as well. Lifeless, old, rotting, the one that's now there. He sees that hanging from the ball pit. He sees that as well. It's not just Oswald seeing that. His dad sees that as well and thinks, what the hell is that thing? What's that doing there? And then Jeff's still there, guys. And then Oswald thinks, well, how has the owner, Jeff, not seen or heard any of this happen? Did he not see me being attacked by Spring Bonnie? What the hell? It's so weird, guys. See, that's why I think Jeff's a little bit weird as well. Like, he kind of knows that it happened, but didn't do anything about it. And Oswald's arm's bleeding, guys. He still has the bite mark of Spring Bonnie. He still has it. And his dad sees it. You know, it happened. What? It happened, guys. It happened. It's got the bite mark. Spring Bonnie's just there for some reason hanging. He wasn't there before, but now he is. And that's the end, guys. Happy ending. Spring Bonnie got hung and died. And Jeff didn't do anything about it. And his dad was saved. And Oswald's okay. He's just got a bite mark and PTSD now. He'll probably have nightmares about it for the rest of his life. So that's, guys, I've been speaking for about an hour, but that's the summary of the first book, guys, just in case you didn't read it. I just wanted to give you guys the full summary of the first story. Obviously I've basically just told the whole book. Just summarised it a little bit. What do you guys think about that? So, I'm going to summarise it quickly now. So, basically, Oswald goes to a pizzeria that's no longer Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. There's a ball pit there that belonged to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza that's still there. He goes inside, he comes back out, he's in the past. He's back in 1985, okay? And he gets to go out and interact with the kids, play the games, but a Spring Bonnie man is there, and he seems to be the only one who notices it, nobody else. Eventually, he keeps going in and out, in and out, in and out, like nothing's happened. Spring Bonnie seems to be a little bit weirder now, still nobody notices it. He comes out, kids screaming and everything. He's at the murder night. He's at the day of the murder. He's at the day when some kids got murdered by Spring Bonnie. Okay, Spring Bonnie man, William Afton, whoever it is. Okay, he sees the dead kids in the room, in the party room, lifeless with party hats on. Spring Bonnie tries to get him. He escapes. Oswald's dad is there. Spring Bonnie pulls him in, comes back out, adjusts his bow tie, and just is very casual. Completely normal. Drives the car, takes Oswald to school, makes Oswald food. Everybody else, Jeff included, everybody else in the neighbourhood, his mom, sees Oswald's dad. So Spring Bonnie has come out of the ball pit. Spring Bonnie has taken his dad, comes out of the ball pit as his dad, and just acts normally. But obviously Oswald sees Spring Bonnie still, but nobody else does. And it seems like everybody else can talk to Spring Bonnie and interact with Oswald's dad, apart from Oswald himself. Whenever Oswald tries to speak to him, there's nothing there. Just stares at him. Like nothing's there. It's so weird. And throughout all this time, Oswald's dad has been in the ball pit unconscious while Spring Bonnie's been doing all of this. And then Oswald saves the day. He rescues his dad. Spring Bonnie gets hung, turns into a lifeless, empty suit. So there must have been an entity in that suit. There must have been some kind of entity. Okay, and I think we learn that later on in the next books, guys. In the future books, I think we learn who's pulling the strings of this. Is it William Afton? Is it some kind of dark spirit? We start to learn later on in the books. So instead of saying William Afton's spirit, I'll just say a dark entity. A dark entity has took over Spring Bonnie, brought Oswald back in time in the ball pit. You know, this ball pit has a dark entity inside of it. The dark memories of what happened at the pizzeria. It's the only thing in the pizzeria that still is there and holds those memories of what happened. Some spirit or some dark thing has allowed Oswald to go back in time to experience the memories. And then it obviously goes south because this Spring Bonnie man seems to be the one who's pulling the strings, okay? Whatever it is. And if you can see here, guys, it is dark, okay? Something is seeping out of the suit. The darkness, like the dark memories, the entity of something is making this all happen. You know, making Oswald get Faz coins in his pockets to make him stay longer. This dark entity, Spring Bonnie, seems to latch himself on Oswald's dad and goes around and walks around like nothing's happened. Which is weird, isn't it? What does this dark entity want? Why is he trying to act like everything's normal? It doesn't make sense to me. Does it make sense to you? The only thing I can think of is the murderer. I just don't see how William Afton would want to do that. I don't think, guys, it is William Afton. I think it's some kind of the darkness of what William Afton did, if that makes sense. Kind of like Glitch Trap. I don't think Glitch Trap is all of William Afton's spirit. I'd say it's like the darkness of William Afton. Like the corruption and darkness of what happened, of him killing kids, created some kind of entity of what William Afton did. All of William Afton's darkness has formed its own thing. And I think that's what's happened here. And this dark entity wants to go back to how things were. pretend to be a family man and a dad, and act like nothing's happened. It's interesting, isn't it? And it seems like the entity is using Oswald's dad's life force while he's unconscious in the ball pit. Throughout all this time, guys, he doesn't wake up. So Oswald's dad is just in the ball pit unconscious. Doesn't wake up. So it does seem like this dark entity can use Oswald's dad's life force, his life, as an illusion. So everybody else around him sees Spring Bonnie as Oswald's dad, because Spring Bonnie, the dark entity, is using Oswald's dad as an illusion. So everybody else sees him, apart from Oswald, obviously. Probably because Oswald saw it happen, so the illusion doesn't work on him. But everybody else sees Oswald's dad. So this dark entity tried to be normal and act like nothing's happened. And then, obviously, he's not happy when Oswald tries to go and rescue his dad. Because, you know, the dark entity just wants to be Oswald's dad like nothing's happened, and Oswald is stopping him doing that. And he tries to rescue him. I think the dark entity knew, like, this isn't going to work. I'm going to kill Oswald now. You know, I tried. That's it. Time to die. He fails. And he gets hung. And the dark entity vanishes from this suit, and it turns lifeless now. So the dark entity was using the Spring Bonnie costume. Whatever it was using the Spring Bonnie costume. As soon as it died, it turned into a lifeless, like, empty suit. Okay? It's pretty crazy, isn't it, guys? That's all I can think of, is that some kind of dark energy, dark force of the horrible things that happened at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and turn into a monster. Like I said, I really don't think it's William Afton's spirit. William Afton's spirit isn't just going to be trapped inside a ball pit for 30 years. I think it's the dark memories of what happened. The dark memories are attached to the ball pit itself. The dark memories of what happened at that location 30 years ago in 1985. The dark entity was attached to the ball pit, waiting for somebody to go inside of it, I'm guessing, and which was Oswald. And Oswald goes in, and the dark entity's like, yeah, here we go, it's time. Takes him back in time. I don't think he's literally gone back in time, guys. I think it was a memory or something. He goes back to a memory. I don't think he literally went back in time. It could be that, guys. Oswald didn't go anywhere. Oswald might have just been unconscious in the ball pit. All this going in his head, it did happen, but like the dark entity was trying to show him like what was going on at the location. Because originally the dark entity was trying to kill Oswald before he escaped, before he took his dad. So maybe the dark entity was just going to take Oswald instead of Oswald's dad. And then Oswald was going to come out, obviously the dark entity attached to Oswald now, like nothing's happened, and everybody else would see Oswald, but inside it's the dark entity of Spring Bonnie, of what's happened. But then Oswald escapes and then takes his dad instead. Who knows? So yeah, the next one we are going to read, guys, for a summary and a review is To Be Beautiful. Okay. Next one is To Be Beautiful, guys. And then the next one after that is Count the Ways. So yeah, you'll be getting these on the channel, guys. I know it was a big video, but you know, apparently this is the best story out of the 3, so it's going to be a big video. Really cool. Please let me know what you guys think. If you've read the book, you'll know more, guys, if you've read the book, okay? If you've just had my summary, you know what's happened, but it's just better to read the book. So if anybody who has read the book and wants to say anything, comment section. Tell me your theory. Tell me what you think. What is this dark entity? Is it just the past memories that's grew into a monster that was attached to the ball pit? memories of the past and managed to escape as some kind of like monster entity, let me know, okay? Because it did happen in the novel, guys. That entity was real, and it did have access to that Spring Bonnie suit. Thank you so much for watching it, though, guys. I really do appreciate it. I really enjoyed the first book, and I can't wait to read more. I'm so glad I'm starting to do it now. There's loads more to do. So, yeah, lots of more reading. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Take care. I hope you enjoyed my summary, and I'll see you all next time.